Call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. We have other forums. First on our agenda is approval of the regular board meeting minutes from July 14th. Do I have a motion?
The only question I have when you get down to where it says personnel policies manual, where we approved that, well, it shows that we approved the updated manual, but I thought we approved it with the exception of that organizational chart, so I didn't know if we needed to note that there.
We had done the organizational chart earlier.
Yeah.
No, but it needed to be updated.
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't updated in that manual at the time. So just to show that we approved it with the exception of updating that.
Okay, so motion to approve with that as well.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a second with that change?
Second.
All in favor?
Are you rolling call?
Yeah, I'll go around.
Okay.
And
You're
I'm
gonna-
reversing, because I said, you know what, that's not fair. Okay, so, Holly?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry.
and, Catherine?
Yes.
Okay, Walter?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Alrighty, and then we have the executive session notes from July 14th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve the executive minutes from July 14th.
Okay, and do I have a second?
Please second.
Okay, and I'll go this way again, Holly?
Yes.
Okay, Catherine?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Scott?
Yes.
Alright, the president would like to report with sadness that Dolly Parton passed away today, and she was such a philanthropist for reading and advocate, and I mean, we did experience benefits here, and just, so she's gone, and I mean, she rests in peace, and I hope the people that are in charge of things will continue to, they said that she did leave instructions to have all that stuff continue, because she did so much for me, so, that's all I really have. Does anyone else have anything?
I just wanted to report that the Friends of the Library raised like $799 for the parking at
Oh,
the
that was
Money
very
Fest
good.
activity.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks. I just had a couple things. I was going to ask that the minutes reflect that there had been another applicant for the office manager position who was not considered or given an interview despite his qualifications. And then the board, we all received information about Arturo Lopez's banning. It was not in this meeting's agenda. I just wanted to ask that it be placed on the September agenda.
Could I ask why you would expect it to be on?
It was in the email it asked that it
Well,
was.
yes, but
Yeah, so I'm
anybody
just
can ask for anything.
sure.
There's much inaccuracies in that email, so, and including the fact that you are told in there that it was your decision to make, that's not. No, I'm saying
Oh,
it says
sure.
in there, that is the document that's attached by that person actually contradicts what it says in the email. So that's why I didn't want to bring that up.
Okay. Okay, so I guess that was just why I was going to ask, so we could have that discussion to help better understand that. Because I guess I didn't fully understand why those steps were taken. So I just have appreciated the conversation about that. And then I was just going to share that I've been asking about the internal controls policy since July 17th because of some things that I found on the SBOA's website. When I've been asking about the registered claims dates, I know I haven't done the best job articulating that. But something that I did finally find was saying that claims for payment are reviewed and approved by the governing body, and then a reconcilement is completed between the claims for payment approved and then the actual disbursements posted to the ledger.
So can I respond to that before you go too much further with that, just to be helpful?
Yeah.
So that statement that you're reading
Yes.
is from an example of training documents for internal controls.
Mm-hmm.
And in that same document, section part 2, approved personnel training, it says, however, this section should not be construed as a prescribed system of internal controls. The oversight body and management are responsible for developing and implementing the internal control system, which meets the needs of the political subdivision. So that is just simply a random
example.
sample, yeah.
Sure.
And I know that that could be misleading, so that's why.
Okay, I appreciate you sharing that. It's just when I've asked if the library has one, I haven't gotten a direct answer. But I found back in the February minutes of 2024 that an internal controls policy was approved by the board. So I was just asking to be able to see that to help me better understand the process for that. But I just haven't been able to get that, and I've asked Montserrat, but she doesn't reply to anything that I ask, so I just haven't been able to get anywhere to help me better understand that. That's all.
Anyone else?
Well, this is some new information, so questions. So, is there an internal control policy?
Yeah. Yes, there is. It was passed in the latest review, I thought was 24. And I think that's something that we can put on an agenda further down in one of the other meetings
True.
and go through the items. We were actually waiting for a response because when Holly sent that to me, I looked at it and I said, boy, I'm pretty sure that's what it's saying, but I don't really want to make that clarification and be wrong. So we reached out to the state board. However, instead of answering in the email, they actually called and talked, so we didn't really have anything to present yet. But I wanted to have that so that we understand that
So we need to
documents out there that could, be confusing if someone reads that, but we do have a document, yes.
So I guess if I just been told that, then that would have cleared up a lot. But I just was never told that there was one that existed.
And even if there is one existing, why can't we see it?
Right, well, yeah.
Why
That's
can't
what I
we?
said, I feel like I
Because
was
that means it would be current,
Well, it would
current
apply to
right
one
now,
word, right.
because it hasn't been updated, so it'd be current, so we should have access to that.
It would just avoid a lot of confusion if we were given what we needed, I feel like, before we reach this point of trying to get something that we can't get. And that leads to me asking questions that maybe I don't need to ask if I had all of the information.
Seems logical to me, yes. So, can we get a copy of it?
And as I say, I think that'd be good to put on one of our agendas that we can go through.
Well, we're not asking to go, we're just saying, can we just have a,
Right.
Yeah,
I would like to read
familiar
it.
with the current one.
I just want to
and then
read
if
it.
needed, yeah, in the future, we can update it, yeah, right. Makes sense to me.
Okay, and then if I'm doing correctly, director's report?
I didn't have a lot, I did have a meeting with, the representatives for VITA. They'll be coming back next year to do the taxes, for free here. They'll be here in February of 2027. They're very excited to come back. We had a different group this year and things didn't go as smoothly. So we're hoping to have them back again next year. They're very excited to come back, and I will be talking more to her at the end of the year. I think I mentioned before already that we have reviewed our budget with our the LGF representative at the end of July. She said everything looked good, all the forms are good. I was a little bit on the conservative side, and she was okay with that, and we're $51 from our next budget. So that'll keep us from being, going over, so we should, be okay with that, keep us from binding review. After that, I did have, I'm not sure who's familiar, but, this patron, Dwayne Conover, he has been great, he does a lot for trying to promote reading, and he's starting a program. He's actually been using the library to get this program going. He is going to have a fundraising event on Saturday, October 17th. He was hoping if maybe any board members might be interested in helping. He brought in some tickets. They're $15 each, and he was hoping somebody would help support the cost, and he is very involved. He loves promoting reading in the library, and yeah, I just wanted to let the board know.
Can you scan that and send it?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure.
I'm nosy,
Just
it's
take a
fun.
look at it.
Okay, thanks.
And that's really all I had.
Okay, and then our financial report.
I know I've asked about this before, just that the perf and that insurance, that's still sitting there, so is that still just a program issue?
Yes, we're waiting for Chelsea from ABC. They're trying to figure out if there's a glitch. We had another one that came up with one of our vouchers for birth.
Okay.
And yes, they're trying to figure out what it is that they haven't been able to get it out there. And with the perf voucher, it was that even though we paid it, it was missing, it was in printing, and we can't get it to, so yes, we're just in conversations with them, and they're trying to figure that out.
Okay.
Is there interest received? Yes, is there? Interest received. And then our register of claims.
I just had a couple questions. On the first page, I was just curious what the, that Crone Inc., the annual program.
That's for elevator, yeah, for the maintenance.
Okay. And then on the second page, the one unit for Guadalupe, I just realized it doesn't divide by 26, so I was just curious if there was something else included in that, because it just says payroll and bookkeeping, but that doesn't equate to like an even amount. So I was wondering if there was something else included in that.
What were you trying to divide it into?
Like, because 26 is her hourly rate, so normally
Oh,
it's to see like
got it.
hours worked, right?
I didn't get
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry,
I didn't get that you
yeah.
were saying
So it came out
$26
to
per hour.
62.84, yes, I'm sorry.
Got it.
Yeah, so that, normally it comes out to just to get an idea of how many hours, but yeah, that one didn't, so I just didn't know if there was something else included in that payment.
Yeah, I'll have to double check.
Okay.
For you, Alex, I don't have the vouchers with me and information, but I can get that information.
Yeah, I mean, it could be,
Normally, like our other one is like 40 hours, or like a, yeah.
well, you know, what I was gonna say is, I just encountered this today when I was doing some payroll. In theory, if you work, you know, if you work 50 minutes into 60, so 50 into 60, you get 0.83. So,
Okay,
so if you worked 50 minutes of 60 minutes, that would be 0.833 of an, and then if you times that
Gotcha.
times 20, so you could actually get 62.84 hours
she
work.
doesn't have a time card, does she? Like, she's not clocking in, clocking out on a time card?
No, this was for, yeah.
Then that would be.
She
I was like,
But if you were,
That does make sense, but thank you.
if you were,
I appreciate that.
the division should be the same, then
Yeah.
if it's just, it shouldn't be different.
Like I
than
would
the pay.
imagine, right, she would write.
Are you saying this is different than
Yeah, it normally always comes out even, right, just to, the other one, because there was one more in here that came out to 40, and they always have been, or it's always listed if there was something else included, like a reimbursement for something. So it's
I
found that
see.
this one wasn't even, but they normally are.
Or did she go to something that she would get a reimbursement for? Did she end up going to that program at the conference at the end of
Yes,
June?
she did.
I just see other reimbursements for parking.
Yes,
So
it
she
might
went
have
to
been,
that,
that's
and then
for
went
the
to parking just.
We all show up with her, so.
Okay. So the ALA conference, you're coming, okay.
well, are we sure, or are we speculating?
I'm just speculating, so.
Right,
But I will get
so
that
it's
road.
still outstanding.
Okay.
I wrote it up to
Yeah.
get that information.
Got it.
The only other one, again, I was just being curious, on the last page, it was pens.com, where it says marketing, I was just curious what that
Oh,
was.
that was, we usually get calendars or other things to work at the library. We have, teaching.
Oh,
That's my living. Yes, they're like carabiner, keychains with the library's information. And, yes, when people sign up for the library card, anything, we go on that.
Anybody have anything else? Could I have a motion?
A motion to approve the register of claims.
Could I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and I'm reversing, so we don't spoil it one group one way or the other, so, Amy, I'm sure. Yes, okay. Catherine?
Yes.
I was like, it's gonna mess
Holly?
you up
I
now.
know, I'm
Yes.
just trying
No,
to-
I'm gonna mess you up, yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Scott?
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't like this. It's like waiting to be called on.
Okay, so I noticed the taxpayers. And this is just a copy of it, correct?
No, it's the taxpayers, it has to be submitted 10 days before we, do our public hearing. And this is just for the board, see if there's any questions you have, it just has the dates and the proposed budget, tax levies.
But we have action on this, we do
Yes.
make a motion.
Yeah, for me to submit it to Caitlin.
Because the public hearing is at the 15th date.
And they need to submit this 10 days before our public hearing.
Oh, that's, I see. That's,
September 8th.
sorry, I think that was going down, got it, okay. Yeah, motion to approve the notice of taxpayers.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Well, okay, Amy? Yes. Holly?
Yes.
Catherine?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Scott?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, and then the budget form is just simply for review.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any questions? Okay. And then, we have our hiring policy for review and improvement.
And the change was to make sure it is posted on the library's website, is that correct?
Yeah, that's 24th, I requested.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna ask for clarification on that sentence where it says that the interview is conducted by the library director or their appointee. Who, just some clarification, who else that would be, or are we talking like a team to
It will
interview?
be on the same, maybe, yeah, the library system, and have maybe have come in and interview along with me.
Okay. So someone with you, not like someone in place of you, is how I was reading, okay.
Do I have a motion?
Well, this does read or not.
I know, like,
in
that's why I
addition
think that's
to-
why I was
So,
confused. So I
so,
think maybe
so,
and
so, well, would there ever be a scenario where you wouldn't be involved?
Maybe if, medical leave or something,
Right.
I don't know.
So maybe we just say and there, or, I don't know. And is that okay?
And makes it seem like each time there's gonna
There's
be.
always gonna be
Right,
a-
right,
I would
right.
do that.
Right, right.
Why don't we put something at the discretion if necessary? And or with their appointee if necessary, or something like that, just as it feels like it's in situations that's warranted. Maybe it's optional.
Okay,
So what
so
are you suggesting?
And or their.
interviews
Oh.
conducted by the library
Maybe
director
applicable.
and or their
Necessary.
appointee if necessary.
Or maybe with their appointee if necessary? Because that or still makes it sound right, like you're taking one or the other.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't, yeah, I think, I mean, let's say, you know, God forbid you're on medical leave and there was a vacancy, right? So then, and an appointee would need to probably conduct that interview. But so, interviews conducted by the library director. Yeah, or the appointee, when applicable, but then you have to go to
Right, then you-
what's applicable, but.
I guess again.
What if it stops at the conducted by the library director, and in another sentence, like, if in circumstances that, she invites somebody else and or appointed to somebody else, like, just give it, like, make it an optional sentence.
Well, or you could, I think you're onto something, you put the period there by the library director, and then
At
let's
their
say.
discretion.
Well, I think you could leave it there, because let's say then something was there, and someone wanted to hire, well, the board would have to make the appointee, we would have to,
Right, we would have
like,
to,
we'd have to motion to make an exception to the policy if she was involved.
I guess that's the question, do we wanna make it that we have to make the motion, or do
And
we?
it seems.
Yeah, or you could write, it. Yeah, I mean,
That would be
I mean,
the
either.
only-
Yeah, I mean, either are options, yeah.
I would leave it to my discretion, it feels like a management decision.
Yeah, but if she's on
what
medical
she
leave,
was
she
saying,
won't
like,
be able
right,
to
if you're,
decide,
yeah,
is what I'm
in that
saying. It's
instance.
like, that would be the only scenario when she, if she wasn't here, she wouldn't probably be working and deciding who's.
That'd be another-
who's
Yeah,
interviewing.
right,
Right,
right.
we
Quite a
were
lot of
going, we're going
things,
down a
yeah.
rabbit hole, I mean, we're going, I mean, we are down a rabbit hole.
One of many policies that would be.
True, I don't disagree.
No medical leave.
I don't disagree.
right.
Maybe you stop at the library director period, and then in lieu of special circumstances, an appointee could be added, or. But then what special circumstances, so that's a whole other thing.
Is it sort of discretion?
Again,
With
I
our
mean,
appointee,
again, without
that's
clarity,
the point of
without
policy,
clarity,
right,
that
is to be
could be,
clear.
that could be questioned like this.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I do that all the time. I have individuals that are supervisors in my group, and sometimes I'm like, yes, I would like to sit in that interview, or no, you go ahead and do it, because they're gonna be working for you.
Yeah.
And then I trust my
Yeah, well, again,
individual working for me to be able to make those decisions or recommendation.
totally, I mean, I was kind of
So I
surprised you
feel like
said
there's
you,
discretion.
yeah, well, yeah, I agree, I mean, and if, I was kind of, you know, if you, one of your teams could hire directly with a team, maybe it would be unusual, but maybe you were out, maybe you would trust them to do the interview and make a recommendation to you, and you wouldn't have interviewed, I mean, it could be a scenario. I don't know what we're trying to exactly, I don't know if there's situations we're trying to avoid,
Right.
or just be clear on.
I was just trying to understand, right, that or their appointee, like, who would do that instead of you, so I think that's how this all kind of,
Sure.
It just- yeah.
Sure.
I feel comfortable with the way it's worded, that we're expecting it's gonna be her unless you appoint somebody else. And that feels like discretion to me.
Yeah,
So we're back to the original.
I don't know, it's just.
well, I mean, something we can motion, we can see if it passes. But I mean, I
Okay,
think
so
there's-
who would like to motion with the original document?
Is there anything else?
Oh, is there anything else besides that?
Right.
Any discussion besides that sentence?
I don't. No, I just, I mean, I just had notes for myself of like having, like the notice of vacancy, just like having that different than like a job description posted, looking more like a vacancy with like salary range benefits type thing instead of posting like the actual job description that we have. That was the other note that I had. Oh, and then I didn't, oh, sorry. I didn't know if we should have said like an application could be submitted by email to the director. I didn't know how involved we wanted to get in that. Just thoughts I wrote down.
I would think that would be presumed, and that we would be, I mean, I'm sure we would include that in the, when we post
In the
it,
posting,
so.
sure.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
then
the instructions.
Maybe that's what I was,
Mhm.
that's all.
What was your first about the vacancy? What was your?
Just like having a different, like a notice of vacancy versus posting a job description. So when we posted the office manager, that was like the physical job description we have, not more like, these are the duties, your salary range, your, any benefits, qualifications we're expecting, and then maybe saying on there that they could submit, by email. Again, just thoughts I had in terms of the hiring process.
Mhm.
I'm hearing on that, I'm bouncing in my head how prescriptive you get with some policies versus how, like,
Right.
would
And then
be
maybe that's
general.
not
If you're
your-
prescriptive in one piece, then it's like, there's a lot of other things that we might be just saying, and then is that too prescriptive? And
Yeah.
so I'm just not disagreeing with you, I'm just trying to.
Yeah,
figure
no,
out
I
balance in
agree.
that.
It's good, it's good comment.
Just
Right.
thoughts I had when I was reading this stuff. Now, obviously, yes, you can't cram all of that into here, but just how that looks. Translates.
So keeping all that in mind, we'll go with the first version first. Do I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the hiring process as presented.
And do I have a second?
Yes, I
Okay. And Amy,
Yes.
Holly,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Scott.
yes.
Alright, and then I have the, Gary of certificate of payment, which I believe is the $20,505.21.
Motion to approve the certificate of payment number 10 to carry out.
I second.
And Amy, okay, Holly,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then before we go back to the personnel with the postings, the free library cards, did you want to give a little spiel about, I don't think there's any, was there something in here?
No, sorry. Yeah, I should have done that.
No, no.
Before. Yes, it's next month. Next month, September is National Library Card Month. ALA and all libraries try to do a big promotion for people to sign up for library cards. And also what we've always historically is ask the board to waive the cost of a replacement card, which is $1, but for a lot of families that might, it might be an issue. So just to waive it for that month where they can come in and get a replacement card.
And it's $1, you said?
Yeah.
And the library did that last year?
We do it every year,
Yeah.
every year we try.
Do we need a motion?
Yes.
So, yeah, so I motion to do as we've been doing with the waiving the fee for a replacement card in the month of September.
And do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, and Amy,
Yes.
Holly,
Yes.
Catherine,
Yes.
Walter,
Yes.
Ashley,
Yes.
and Scott.
Yes.
Okay. All right, now let's go back to the personnel section. Seemed to make more sense to do hiring policy before though, so. Do you want to give any information about the posting or just the general? We would like to post the positions.
Yes, I would just like to ask the board, recommend that we post the position of head of technical services. And post the position as well for head of youth services and for another library assistant.
And we'll do each one separately.
The only thing I noticed when looking at the old job descriptions versus the new ones, that language in the job summary for the head of youth services and head of technical services now says department head instead of a supervisory position. I was just wondering why that was changed.
I believe that was one of the discussions that we had about eliminating, and I think when we were going over the organization chart, we also discussed that. That instead of having the supervisors, we would have the department.
We're on the org chart, everybody's reporting to, that's right, step 4, that's right, maintenance has an assistant.
Yes.
So technically,
There's no supervisor.
supervisor,
No
chair.
other supervisors. I guess what was the need for that, or is there, what was the reasoning for that?
Did it used to be?
Or that was changed?
I believe it was when we were discussing the organization chart, that was what the board had discussed, that instead of having separate supervisors, because everybody was sharing that pool of library system works.
The other thing to keep in mind is a very small group, so to have that many levels, it just didn't feel like it was necessary any further, so.
And when you really look at it and it breaks down, it doesn't actually, that part of the job is not really there, so.
So that just makes, so then everyone is going to Montserrat. That, I understand. Okay.
So could I have a motion to approve posting of the technical services?
Sorry, the only other question I had, sorry, was down at the bottom, the knowledge and skills. that verbiage was changed to instead of having 10 years related experience in continuing education. Now it has the librarian certificate 6 with 3 years of library work.
We had updated it based on the state library certification requirements.
So I read a little bit about that, and just from what I had read, it sounded kind of like those standards were written more for rural communities where, we're sort of like in this hub of very large libraries like Chicago, Crown Point, all of those that we're kind of like expected to compete with. So I'm just curious why I understand what we're following, but do we necessarily have to meet those standards, or can we keep what you had, just I guess keeping your standards the
Well, it's
same?
basically not so much based on urban or libraries, it's actually based on classroom week, where it's based on population of each library, and we're Class C library, so those are really the requirements.
Which I said, I know, like, I guess the question is why did we back down to the minimum? It seemed to work, right? You were able to have people with that level of experience, why would we change that now?
Well, one of the things that's important is trying to find somebody to fill those positions with master's degrees.
Well, and it just said we're continuing it, right? 10 years experience in continuing education. So not necessarily the expectation of having a degree already, but working toward one.
Having like a minimum, that's what it's going, to have a minimum,
Right.
opens up your market, your pool of potential candidates. Because, in my opinion, the whole package for a person, when you're gonna hire somebody, there's a fair minimum from an education standpoint, but then their other experiences, their character, there's a whole package of
Sure.
that you look at somebody, so
I agree.
I think at least if we're hitting the minimum for that qualification, that feels good to me, it just opens up your market more opportunities versus limiting it. We're already in a very small community. Women working. And that's my opinion, within jobs.
Having gone through the experience of most of us previously, I don't think we can always end up with somebody that has way more than that, and that's awesome, but we don't want to discourage people from applying.
In my head, I would think we want like an MLS library in the library, but
And it might end with that, there's somebody with that experience applies, and then if you got multiple candidates, that might distinguish who you go with. But if you put that as a minimum, now you might have a pool of people that actually are qualified to do this job in a very sufficient, effective, successful manner, and other night they can apply.
Because you can have somebody with an MLS that has no library experience, or you can have somebody that's worked in a library for 20 years that has that experience. Cataloging the community library.
which right, I value experience totally, but I also value education, right? I mean, goodness.
I have a question, kind of common, not necessarily critique, but personally, I'm gonna have a hard time moving forward with any posting of positions because the full comprehensive picture of every job description and every salary grade
Yes, I have it, which,
I have not seen.
No,
right.
no,
So,
I think we
Just-
had actually submitted that a couple months ago, but the board decided to hold off because you so wanted to work close chart and everything. So I do have that now, and I have the updated range schedule. And that's what that feels like, that's what.
And frankly, we have one position as a library assistant, and we'll go back to the org chart, we don't have library assistant. Defined.
That was not one that I had to that update, because, yeah, we have the clerk instead of
And
anyway.
for me, with these positions, I feel like they start getting a little more intertwined and cross-referencing what their roles and responsibilities are, they're sharing staff, they're just more intertwining here. We go back behind saying, look at the post of the office manager position, or whatever the specific name that is, that feels very defined and distinct from these positions, it doesn't intertwine with them as much. org chart, I know we've got a piece of it, org chart,
Like
all the discuss,
All
all the
together.
descriptions, pay wage, and this is like the final product, and we can look at it all in full. I feel more comfortable getting that all on the table, being approved, and then moving forward. Getting closer.
Yeah.
Halfway there.
Well,
It just make more sense.
And again, there's still,
Following steps.
if anybody feels differently, feel free to make a motion, I mean, see if it gets seconded and see if it gets passed, but I'm just, for the discussion part of this, I'm just sharing my thoughts with the land.
So would we like to table this till the September meeting when you can have the packet? Or do we-
And I hope like we have that in the packet, yeah, so we can see it before. we go.
Right.
September's weird. It's the eighth.
Yeah. December. Yeah, that's. And that we the public hearing.
Okay. Okay, and, so I think that takes us through everything on here, public comments? Joe? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.